Yeah, I was thinking specifically about education, and it's another one of those issues where the mythology is because of the Department of Education, and because the Biden administration talks so much about throwing more money at education, people forget that it is almost exclusively financed at the local level, controlled at the local level, and as we learned under lockdowns, really controlled by a fairly elite group of teachers union officials that don't seem to give a damn about kids.
Yeah, they do not, unfortunately, in large portions, care about kids, and the whole incentive structure, unfortunately, is set up in a way that they can make a decision that's contrary to the customers. The customer in this case is being the taxpayers and the parents, and it doesn't affect their funding. It does not impact their funding. And there's a lot of teachers that are great teachers, but they're tied into teaching standardized tests. They can't actually work with that child to help them achieve their individual potential. They have to teach to a certain standard because their funding is tied to that. So if their kids aren't scoring high on standardized tests, then ultimately they're not going to get that funding that they need.
Yeah, it's really like the union bosses, I think, make it impossible for good teachers to teach, and maybe really push them out of the system because they can't function.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. And if a parent wants to take their kid out of public school or homeschool their kid, the teachers don't care, the school system doesn't care, the administrators don't care, because the parents have no leverage in this situation. The leverage, of course, being money that they've paid through their property taxes, that their neighbors have paid through their property taxes. It goes to that school no matter what.
So what happened in Missoula and Montana with school lockdowns? Because everybody's paying attention in New York City and the awful way that the mayor's handling the situation there, but that happened almost everywhere.
Yeah, and people think of Montana as the wild, wild west, very conservative state, but in reality, we're actually more of a purple state. And even though we did have Republican control at all three branches of government, the local levels, the power at the local government, the local schools, still had masking policy up until 3 months ago. That the kids had mandatory masks. They weren't actually back in school until this last school year full time. They were doing kind of alternate days. And parents were showing up to those meetings, and they were getting ignored by their school board members, because the school board members actually do have the power to control what happens in that local school system, almost exclusively, without the governor or the mayor or anybody having any say over that.
Yeah, to take it back to the federal level, of course, I can't help myself, but the travesty of parents showing up at school board meetings and being targeted by the Justice Department as
Oh, yeah.
as I think they used the T word, didn't they?
They
were domestic terrorists.
Domestic terrorists.
Yeah.
Yep. Concerned parents now became the enemy of the state.